I am life. I've been around longer than you can imagine. I'm home to millions. I cover most of the earth. Your life relies on mine. I'm worth protecting. I am plants. That statement was from the UN, United Nations Biodiversity team. Just out the last couple of years, I think. This is a test of whether you follow our social media or media accounts, because we published it like a couple of times. So if you haven't heard that before or seen the video, the very good video that goes with it, sign up, because there's a very good video that goes with it. At AIPH, we believe in the power of plants. And we figured it out, I guess, 75 years before the UN just did. So, according to the UN, plants are life. If we really simplify our AIPH statement, we are plants. Plants are life, we are plants. So, that makes it really simple, but it's not quite that simple because most people don't get it. And we've been talking the last couple of days about a bunch of different things about how people aren't valuing plants enough. So that sums it up really, really good. And if we look a little bit closer at the value of plants, usually when we're doing matrix for cities and stuff, there's five major categories that we look at. So if we look a little closer at those, air quality is one of the big ones. So plants do a very good job of improving air quality. The biggest pollutant that's causing more death than anything else in the world is PM 2.5, an air pollution area that causes a lot of harm. In Canada, with all the wildfires and everything, we've got PM 2.5. People are being told to stay in it so bad. PM 2.5 is small enough that it gets right into the lungs and right into the bloodstream and is very dangerous. So plants help with air quality. The other thing that we don't give plants enough credit for, which is grade 8 science, which is photosynthesis, they make the air we breathe. They really are the lungs of our cities. So air quality is big. Plants do that for us. Temperature mitigation. Plants are the best mitigators of temperature in cities. We tend to think of it, the non-scientific people think of it because they provide shade. They provide a lot more than shade. Hydrated plants, this is where we'll get into a little bit more discussion in a while. Hydrated plants transpire. And that transpiration, it has a very large cooling effect. So they help us there. Water quality and storm management, plants are also fantastic there. Trees capture a lot of water before it hits the ground. Well-hydrated trees, or trees that absorb it into their root system, will transpire, and that's a cooling effect and a cleaning effect. And they also, plants that are not hydrophobic from being too dry, will hold water for a long period of time. And we're learning through different methods to use plants for stormwater management in more and more ways. Green roofs, green-blue roofs, bioswales, rain gardens, all kinds of things. So they do that for us. Health and well-being is also another big one that we look at plants for. We've got the whole forest bathing thing. There's lots of research. I remember the first Green City Conference I attended for AIPH was in London, and we had a doctor that talked about the science behind hospital patients getting better faster if they had trees in view. There's lots of science around that now. Plus, it just makes us feel better. There's recent science that shows a well-treed bike path, for example, gets 40% more traffic than one that's not. And through that, we get a lot of health benefits because we have less obesity, lower blood pressures, all the good things that does. So that's good. The one that I hadn't really considered when we launched our Green City Awards in Canada was land use and natural assets. And the more I've learned about it, the more in cities, the more that's one of the most important categories, because if you don't mess it up, you don't have to fix it. So protecting the land base, protecting your land assets, it was brought up yesterday, that's critical. We've got things like Miyake forests and stuff now that are going in, which are mini forests that can be placed in any kind of a pocket that do really, really, really valuable work. So when you look at all of the different things that plants do for us, we discover that plants love you. So plants are life, we are plants love you. Plants Love You, by the way, is a campaign that we're launching in Canada through all of our networks for a 3-year promotional program called Plants Love You. And we're looking forward to using that to convince people, because I think it's really important. Len pointed out yesterday that by pointing out to government the importance of plants, then as growers and as Green City developers, we get better traction with government. They start to understand. They're only starting to understand. I mean, it wasn't until COP26 in Glasgow that carbon sequestration side of the carbon cycle was even mentioned the first time. So it's important. It gives us a really big challenge because we need to make people aware of it. It really came to light to me last year at the IUCN, International Union of Nature Conservatory Conference, for the World Green City Awards, when I'm sitting at a table with the president of the IUCN, World Wildlife Federation, governor of, or vice governor, I think, of the Jeju province, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" They're like, "Why are plantsmen involved in this?" And so I started explaining it. I wish back then I had the expression "plants are life, we are plants." That would have simplified things. I spent 10 minutes instead explaining that the work that they're doing in nature restoration, remediation, reclaiming areas for renaturalizing that were denaturalized, they need plants. So somebody has to grow them. They have to buy them somewhere. You don't snap your, actually many cities still think you snap your fingers and you get a 70-year-old tree. But so there's lots there. The UN Biodiversity Conference we were able to present at through ICLEI, Cities with Nature. IUCN was there and everything. And it was the same thing. I had to explain afterwards that, because why are you at a biodiversity conference? There is no biodiversity without plants. Plants are important. We are plants. So the challenge will be for all of us to take the tools that we learn through Green City conferences, through all of the channels that AIPH is working on, the Global Green City Update, the forum, the work that we're doing in expos and everything. We need to take that knowledge, and if you want to keep selling plants, you have to emphasize the importance of them and their value that they bring.